Get out!
Hello tankers and tankettes, welcome to a T1 Cunningham replay. Yeah, you might actually recognise this game because this is one that was in the background of one of my Q&D videos. It was either number 2 or number 3, I can't remember. But I decided not long after I put that up I would actually give this game its own separate airing. It's taken me a while to get round to it. You might be wondering why I have a T1 Cunningham. Well, it's actually quite useful in the 742 tank company battles, team battles, or whatever you want to call them. It's the most useful tier 1 because it's the fastest tier 1, and if you put binos and a camo net on it, it's fairly low profile. They can basically be good static scouts. You can send them to various places on the map and they just sit in a bush or whatever, and then you can see if somebody's advancing through a particular lane of approach. So they're useful in that regard, and I do occasionally play it for the daily in randoms because, hey, that XP gets me ever closer to having 6th sense on the commander, which takes a while in a tier 1. This is an 8.9 replay, I still don't have 6th sense on the commander, but it's not like I play this for its double every day. In fact, I hardly ever play this for its double. It's just if I'm in the mood, because it is basically seal clubbing. The Hispano-Suiza, the top gun on this, you can basically one-clip other tier 1s really easily. But this is not exactly going to be a cakewalk because there's not that many tier 1s in this battle. We've got 4, they've got 3, and the rest are all tier 2s. And one of their tier 2s is a T18, but we've got a T18 as well. So at the moment I'm just spotting for our team. I've got binoculars, and because Province is such a small map, even though I've got pretty terrible view range, with binoculars it's more than enough to see across to the other side of the valley. So I'm not going to fire and get exposed myself yet. This is also going to be a fairly long replay, and if you've seen that Q&D video you know exactly how it goes, but for the rest of you, yeah, this is going to be a long one. So the Gazette, I've got this week's, or is it last week's, might be last week's, Stornoway Gazette ready, and this is a thing I do occasionally if there's going to be a video with a long patch in the middle with really nothing happening. You know, I'll whip out the old Gazette and read some excerpts and tell you all about the oh so interesting things. I think the T95 video that I did with I think that's the one where I did it the first time, and I've only done it, you know, that and maybe another video. But that was a particularly hilarious edition because it had such gems as the fact that the Harris Gun Club was finally having their first ever ladies open day and stuff like that. Anyway, this T26 is well within auto-spotting range, so I'm just gonna stay behind this rock because I know there's still stuff over that T18 is over there apart from anything else. That's gonna be nasty. He's very low health. The temptation is to pop out and nail him, but that would be a bad move. You can see there he's getting hit from behind, so there's plenty of stuff on our other on the kind of the northern side of the, I don't even know what to call it, but to the north of the map. There's plenty of friendlies to the north taking care of these guys. Anyway, this being a low tier battle, no one quite knows what they're doing. Everyone's just kind of derping around and firing randomly and doing all the other things you do in tier 1 and tier 2 tanks. I think I was fairly well ready for this to be. It's hard to predict whether things are going to be a win or a defeat when you're playing the low tiers, especially tier 1 and tier 2, because it can just, a battle can turn in an instant. Nobody knows what they're doing. It's just the derpitude. So here we go, there's T1, and this is what I mean about this gun is actually kind of unbalanced, because you can just one clip another tier 1, and the reload's kind of long for a tier 1 when you've only got 115 hit points to work with, but this thing is kind of monstrous. However, like I've said, tier 2, so it's not like this is totally unbalanced. It's only got 30 penetration, this gun, and you can see I only got regular AP, so it's not like I'm being a total, you know, and a real seal clubber extraordinaire and only shooting golds. This has got, I mean, 30 average pen is just about enough. But for the T18, for instance, I'm not going to be able to pen a T18. The T60s are going to be fairly tough targets. Hell, even the T7 combat cars might give me some difficulties. The cruisers as well, actually, if they're angled even a bit, But this is a level of the game where people aren't really going to be intentionally angling, unless, like me, they're just straight up seal clubbing. I mean, getting the daily for their 742 spotter tank. Yeah, that's my excuse. Actually, I should confess, this wasn't. I mean, I did have, in fact, still do have a tier 1, which pretty much was 90% seal clubbing and 10% for playing with those people, as I very occasionally do and have done, that are just starting out. The MS1, the Russian tier 1, and that thing gets a kind of a crazy gun. That and the Life Tractor, actually, the Life Tractor stock gun is another seal clubber's favourite, but the MS1 has actually got a good enough gun that if you're tier 1, if it's a tier 1 only battle, you just load up the HE, because the HE has got sufficient penetration and you can be quite nasty with that thing. So that is my straight up troll tank, 90%. But that's another one I don't really ever play. It's just there in my garage because I think I've spent gold on an inscription and gold on the camo, so I'm not going to sell it. But the T1 I did specifically buy for doing 742s. Anyway, this is not really going for us. In fact, it's going dramatically against us. We're down to the last 3. And rather than sit over there on my own, I'm going to go and... oh, hello, lol tractor. Okay. He's dangerous, and look at his rate of fire. I've got to reload. But he's... and this was stupid. Why didn't I go forward and to the right? But no, I backed off and let him shoot me. But fortunately, his third shot misses. But I've now lost the majority of my health just from 2 shots. So, yeah, that ain't good. That ain't good at all. But that was pure derp on my part. I should have gone forward and to the right, and he wouldn't have been able to shoot me. Anyway, to the remaining tanks, one of which is also a lol tractor. They take down one of the T60s. There's still a pair of cruisers, a T60 and a T7 combat car. The cruisers probably have, if they've got the top guns, they've probably got the 2-pounder, which is a nasty little gun. Or a very nice little gun, depending on, you know, which end of it you're on, kind of thing. So there's one of the cruisers. He's full health. This is kind of long range for this gun, but I take the chance and I do some damage. But you see that only 3 of those shells actually penetrated out of the whole clip. So you really just do have to kind of spray and pray with this gun. It's not particularly accurate. And again, another 24, so I'm just chipping away at the health of this guy, trying to hide behind this wreck in between. And maybe I can finish him off. 13. I mean, I need like 2 pens, and there we go. So I haven't exactly done much damage, but hey, it's a tier 1 tank in a tier 2 battle. 3 kills, and our lol tractor's down, so it's me and the BT2. But this is now a bit more doable. It's 12-13, and that cruiser hasn't moved. This is, in any other kind of situation, you know, if this were a higher tier battle, this would be extremely hard to do. When you're low health, you've got an ally that's low health, and you've got two opponents, or 3 opponents that are all the, you know, to the best of your knowledge, are full health. And I'm thinking I'm going to go up here and flank, but we'll soon see. I rapidly change my mind. But at the lower tiers, when there is that, if you're a relatively experienced player and you're going in, and this is why they call it seal clubbing, it is that disparity in skill can more than make up for the relative weakness in position, the weakness in tanks. But it's not like it's totally easy mode. I mean, you're still working with, even if you're in something relatively seal clubby, you're still working with a very limited pool of hit points, and most of the time hit points is all you've got, because almost none of these low tiers have got good armor. So there's the T60. I'm not going to go that way. They almost certainly saw me. BT2 is down. I've got 2 in front of me. We know the T7 combat car from the trace was up in B1. Okay, that cruiser's making a move, so let's pump my clip into him. Got most of his health, so I know I can get him with the next clip. That's fine. The T60, and again, if this was not a low tiers battle, I mean, I'm essentially having to only deal with 1 enemy at a time, because they're not, no one's supporting each other. Everyone's just kind of bumbling around and doing their own thing. So I just charge the guy and empty my clip at him and trust that it'll work out. And 2 versus 1. Now this is more doable. the T7, even if he's making his way back at this point, it's going to be maybe a while before he can join in. So rather than just sit behind that house, I'm going to move up to these bushes here, and I'm just going to sit in here and use my small size. Now, this is the bit where we're going to need the Gazette. This is the bit where there's 5 minutes 20 seconds left. I know there's one tank there. If the other tank goes for the cap, I'll know about it. So I'm just going to sit in this bush and have some patience. So, the Gazette time it is. I'm actually going to do something different this time. I usually buy the Gazette for the jobs page because I am still in the position of having to look for work, which is, God, it's like 1.5 years now. It's getting a bit ridiculous, but I'm still looking. So most weeks I pay my £1 for the Gazette, and it's pretty much just the jobs page I'm interested in. But there is another thing in the Gazette which I might ignore 90% of the Gazette and only ever read the jobs page and this other thing. And the other thing is the chess column. And you might be thinking, chess column? Well, first off, I think it's wonderful that you know, our small local paper has got a chess column. But the chess column is also most often the most interesting thing in the entire newspaper. And it's by a guy called Callum Wallace. I'm just going to read out the whole thing because, yeah, they do the usual thing of there's like a sample chess game from some either a hypothetical match or some actual situation that happened. But anyway, this column is entitled "Chess is Life." Chess is life, many have proposed. Something intensely human shapes people's involvements with the game. The play of the pieces on the board reflects the play of forces and actors in the world. Mirrored and then proved, says author William Faulkner. You see what I mean? This is immediately 10 times better than anything else in the Gazette. An observation that reflects how people long for meaning and purpose in their lives, living intensely, crafting beauty, testing ourselves against others, and achieving a sense of mastery over the game. Chess could be a ritual in our lives, a magical rite to keep anxiety at bay. It illustrates the ways that people act creatively and how the results of our practical efforts can... we're going to cut it short. You know what I'll do? I'll finish the rest of it after the game. I don't want to deprive you guys. He's auto-spotted me. Okay. I didn't really get to read much of the Gazette chess column, but you know what? I will just read it afterwards. So I'm just going to have to take a risk. He opens fire on me. I open fire on him. I think he actually misses me or hits the wall. Bear in mind, this is 8.9, so destructible walls weren't a thing. You know, walls you could shoot through. And there we go, the T7 is on the cap. I know exactly where he is. This is a bit of a tense standoff now. He's got more hit points than me, and he's also got more armour, and probably a better gun. So this is all going to come down to who's got the better reflexes, who's got the more experience, basically. So it's pretty tense. I seem to remember I wait a bit in this as well, but I don't know if I've got enough time to read another paragraph of the chess column. Shall we try? Oh, I'm making a move. How quickly can I read? Oh, where was I? Was it, well, children and oh, never mind. Okay, there we go. He does hit me, and I hit him, and wow, my indecision cost me valuable reading time there. Anyway, he's down. I'm even lower health now. This was before the T7 got a buff, which it did in the 9.0 patch. It got slightly more penetration, but even with 27 average penetration, he can still just kill me with 2 or 3 bullets, 2 or 3 shots. So yeah, this is pretty tense, and he's got nearly full health as well. He's got 127 out of 150 hit points. My immediate concern is to decap, and I just need like 1 damaging shot, and there it is. Bought myself some time. The timer is actually getting a bit low though, but I've bought myself some time, and I've also destroyed the only cover he had in the cap. So I'm just gonna knock down this wall here and just get this out of the way, so he's not gonna, because there's a little bush there and there's that wreck, and if he sees that wall break, and he's gonna know I'm gonna come at that particular instant. So I'm just gonna eliminate any possibility of anything along those lines, empty my clip in him. There we go. He's down to 77 health now, and again, this wouldn't have been possible if this was someone with just even a bit more experience, somebody who had put their front armor towards me. But we're getting seriously short on time, so I've just got to go for it. I've got to trust my luck and actually 30 seconds. I mean, this is tense. This is, can I do it? I'm either going to kill or be killed, you know, it all comes down to this. Oh, no, we get him, oh my god, that's, and again, that inexperience, it's just the fact that he was looking at me, but I was ready for it, he wasn't ready for it, and yeah, it accounts for a lot in this game, it really does. So that was an ace tanker badge, which I don't think I'd ever had in the T1 Cunningham up till that point. Well, I definitely hadn't had it, because that was it. It was Top Gun, it was also Defender for those decap points at the end, and I got raw XP in a tier 1 and a tier 2 battle on Province. Without premium, I got 1082 XP. That was pretty nice, and with premium and with the daily double, that was over 3000 XP in a tier 1. Yeah, that might be the best tier 1 battle I've ever had, maybe, but my word, I mean, it really came down to it. That was really quite tense in the end there, and I was even just playing it, because it's like, a lot of the times in these kind of low tier battles, it's like, okay, you don't really care that much if you win or lose. It's just kind of you derp around, and if you win, you probably don't get much XP, but hey, it's a bit more XP on the crew. But in this one, the more the battle progressed, the more I wanted to win it, because it was just so tense and it was so, you know. But I got there in the end. Anyway, shall we finish the rest of the chess column? Shall we do that? Oh, okay. Where was I? Right. Children and adults delight in chess and welcome the chance to immerse themselves in an imaginative game that transcends the monotony of everyday routine. Our attraction to the game shows how we want to share something of interest together. It reveals how we try to fashion ourselves into better human beings. It also attests to the social dimensions of people's lives, from the need to connect with others to the competitive impulses and the fight for elevated status. It's a game of life. Chess, like life, draws from new technologies. These same technologies are forever shaping how we think, act, play, feel, perceive, and relate to others. While there might be something essentially human in people's engagements with chess, we need to keep in mind that humankind itself is endlessly changing. What does the future hold for chess? The game is ever changing. It's becoming quicker, more intense, more demanding. Cyber chess is in vogue, and young teenage grandmasters are the norm. The databases are getting bulkier by the day. The pace of the game is speeding up with ever faster time controls. Information flits from one country to another on a keystroke. The question is, will the intensification of the game create a new generation of cyborgian chess players? That's his word, not mine. I like that though, cyborgian. Computer technologies are radically altering the dynamics of the game. They are shaping chess players and have made cyber cheating and cheating paranoia chilling realities. They are also pointing to a possible future in which chess becomes played out, wherein chess is no longer chess, at least as we know it. Local chess clubs are losing members to the convenience of online play, while internet chess forums are making chess more virtual than ever and changing the reality of what it means to play with others. Chess has also become more global and diasporic, with the top talents scattered around the world. The current world champion, Magnus Carlsen, is Norwegian. Still, chess remains just a blip on the collective unconsciousness of many societies. We live in a... actually says we're, but we're with an apostrophe. Wow, with an apostrophe. This is me level spelling. We live in an era of, or possibly we're living in, I'm not sure. We're living in an era of video games and television trash where the most sought after activities are not cerebrally challenging. That word is also challenging, apparently. As David Letterman once quipped, there just isn't enough televised chess. Chess will never be as popular as football, but many are turning to chess, perhaps because it offers something that video games and the internet do not. Hip-hop artists rap on the game, and each year schools add its study to their curricula. Anthropologist Robert Desjardins reminds us that we play with form, abide in complexity with others, and craft a world. That sounds exactly like Minecraft, you know. Chess is fascinating, says Boris Salman, a software developer and chess enthusiast from Moscow who lives with his family in Seattle. My wife doesn't understand. With chess, you're creating something, making something. It's a world. In this position from, I'm going to try this name, Kazim Dzanov Golubev. I've probably butchered that. German League 2002. White must look for a counter-attack because of the grave danger to his king. White to play and win. Normally in the kind of the chess page you'd get like the chess game and it would describe a bit about the history and whatever. But this is like, there is more. It's kind of, I don't know, I just don't know how to describe it, but there is more entertainment in the Gazette chess column than there is in the entire rest of the paper. And that is true really most weeks. So yes, that is why I spend my £1 on the Stornoway Gazette every week. It's for that and the jobs page. So I've got my business and I've got my pleasure. So it's perfect. What more could you want from a local paper? Anyway, all of that aside, I hope you enjoyed this replay. I don't plan on putting up many T1 Cunningham replays. It's just this one was kind of, it stood out even for a tier 1 game. It was just gripping from start to finish with some doldrums in between, but still it had an exciting finish. It was a nail biter and it came right down to the wire. And that's the kind of game, whatever tier, that we all live for. The ones where live or die, win or lose, it just comes down to the last 30 seconds and it's just mano a mano, you versus one other player, and it's just the fate of the entire match in your hands. It's just, who doesn't love that? That's one of the reasons why I think most people play World of Tanks, is just for those rare moments. So if you enjoyed this replay and my reading of the chess column, you can hit the like button, you can subscribe to my channel, you can check out my Facebook page, and of course, as always, stay tuned for more.